Ross, what's good, man? What's good with you, man?
What's up, man? I'm just here daily. Here daily, separating the wheat for the strong, man. You know,
That's what I'm talking about. Hopefully today these motherfuckers come correct and they understand the art of donating to motivating because that's what we're expecting, man. That's what we're anticipating. I mean, we posted this live well in advance. For people that always say, "Damn, man, we be missing the lives." Me and Ross, we normally don't let y'all know when we going live, but it just so happens stands that we were powwowing around the same time, so we gave y'all enough time to figure it out. But there's a lot of shit that we want to talk about. We really want to delve into and get into. But the number one thing, there's two number one things that I want to talk about, and me and Ross really want to talk about it. This homosexual agenda that's going on with Black Hebrew men. I don't know what the fuck that's going on in the world right now, and then the Spence and Crawford debacle where all of a sudden Crawford acts like he can't go up to 154. He can go up to 154 supposedly for Charlo, which is cap. He could go up to 168. I don't know how you could supposedly go up to 168 and fight Canelo Alvarez, but you can't go up to 154 for your second fight for Spence versus Crawford. All of that is cap. All of that is hearsay. All of that is nonsense. So Ross, let's get into it, man. How you doing today, bro?
I'm doing, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great, for sure.
So my biggest thing and my first thing is Terence Crawford showed up to the Canelo and the Charlo fight. I think we're gonna talk about that for a little bit. Let's actually talk about that first. Both fighters were overrated. Both fighters got exposed. Mel, me and you, if people would just listen to us, you know, I think, and again, this is not a thing where we're trying to force feed information to people. We're not trying to force you to be like us. I don't want people to think that we're like other beta male moisture YouTubers out there where we're trying to force an indoctrination. You're your own individual. We want you to think on your own. We're not here to try to force you to think the way that you want to think. But when you hear truth, there's something about truth that when you hear it, you have to sometimes sit back and let it marinate. Either way, you got to digest the truth. It's a hard thing to digest, but there are times when the truth is so compounding. It's like compounding interest. The interest is going to constantly be there. The only way to avoid interest is by paying principal. That's the only way you can avoid interest. But when it's compounding and it's constantly there and you're not using principal to pay the interest off, you just have no choice but to weather the storm of the interest. Well, that's truth. Truth is like interest. It's going to keep coming and it's compounding and it
Mm-hmm.
comes exponentially. It cuts through your spirit and soul. It goes through the dividing asunder of the soul and spirit, even to the joints and marrows. It hits your cellular DNA structure. It goes to the intents of the hearts. It's a discerner of the thoughts, but nevertheless, it's truth. We told you two fundamental truths that Jamel Charlo was a sacrificial piece for Canelo Alvarez. We told you every time you see bidirectional, multi-directional, multifaceted, multi-contract deals, the first guy is going to be sacrificed. Did you guys listen? Did you
Mm-hmm.
guys pay attention? No, you fucking didn't. How did you guys think Mel was going to win this fight when Canelo signed a 4-fight deal with PBC? It was kind of common sense, folks. The second thing, Canelo Alvarez got exposed. He doesn't have one hit knockout power. For a guy who's 168 pounds, he was supposed to knock out Jamel Charlo. I want y'all to keep that same energy because they have what's called a double standards that's associated with boxing. And the double standards that they have that's associated with boxing is as simple as this. People don't respect the fact when it comes to boxing that when it's a black fighter, that outclasses, dominates an opponent. They say he didn't even knock him out. When Errol Spence fought Mikey Garcia, he dominated Mikey Garcia from round 1 to round 12, in so much so that Mikey Garcia professionally retired. He came out and said Errol Spence retired him. And on top of that, he's a CBD oil and car salesman. He was dominated thoroughly for 12 rounds. Canelo Alvarez was getting touched up by Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo was touching him up with 1-2 pieces, combinations. In that fight, Canelo was getting exposed.
Right.
And when Canelo hit Jermell Charlo, he only rocked him. He didn't knock him out. So why aren't people talking about Canelo was exposed? Why aren't people talking about Canelo didn't perform? Because all I'm seeing from coons, from guys that are what we call black boxing channels, is Canelo outclassed the dude. Canelo washed the dude. Canelo boxed the dude. A washing is a 12-0 situation. That's what a washing is. Go ahead, Ross.
I'll tell you why. Because sadly, the majority of black men are followers of white men. And the white men hold black people to a higher standard because, truth be told, white men believe we're greater than them.
Mm-hmm.
So you notice they say black men can't play the position of quarterback, but they say that to try to keep black men out of the position. Once they get to that position, they hold up to a higher standard than they do white men.
Yep.
So black men who got offensive lines, they don't make excuses for that. Oh, they didn't block for him. They say, oh, he has to get the ball out faster. Everything, black man has no excuses when he doesn't win. But Canelo could move somebody up 2 weight classes, struggle, can't even knock him out and get praise. But if Floyd Mayweather would have fought somebody coming up 2 weight classes and didn't stop him, that's all they'll be talking about. It wouldn't be nobody saying Canelo is back, Canelo washed that boy. It'll be people saying Floyd should have stopped him because he came up 2 weight classes.
Yep.
Could you imagine somebody coming up 2 weight classes to fight Andre Ward and making it to the end of the fight?
Yep.
Are we serious? Could you imagine that? Could you imagine somebody, for example, Hagler washed Roberto Duran, washed him. Did you know after the fight they didn't talk about Hagler washing Roberto Duran? They talk about Roberto Duran. Roberto Duran's a warrior. He moved up 2 weight classes. He moved up 2 weight classes that he survived.
That's where the dare to be great bullshit came from that.
He dared to be, but when it's a black fighter, you have to stop him. But with a Mexican fighter, then it's okay if he wins because it's a washing.
Yep.
No, on my watch, Canelo was exposed. Not to me, because I've been on this, but to the rest of the world. Because if you have true power, the reason why he's exposed, because they haven't been pushing Canelo like a pure boxer, like a Mayweather master boxer. They've been pushing Canelo as a boxer puncher.
Yep.
KO artist.
Yep.
Listen, you don't move up 2 weight classes in the fight a KO artist and survive.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And if you do, you got to be. Roberto Duran was very skilled.
Yep.
Charlo was not as skilled as Roberto Duran.
Exactly.
He's not.
Nope.
He's not. As a matter of fact, if Roberto Duran and Charlo met at 154, Roberto Duran will stop Charlo.
Yeah, knock his ass out.
He'll stop Charlo. So that's not the same. But that goes to show you he didn't even, this shows you why he didn't fight Andre for Undisputed. This fight shows you why he didn't fight Charlo.
Yep, Big Charlo.
Big Charlo for the WBC.
Mm-hmm.
It exposes why he's ducking Benavidez.
Yep.
He knows these guys he'll have a hard time beating. And if he beats them,
here's the thing with Uncle Al. Uncle Al gonna make sure he fight them motherfuckers.
And if he does beat them, he knows he'll barely survive that. So he doesn't want that type. He doesn't want that energy. So right now, I'm looking at the boxing situation. I'm saying the average boxing fan is a coward. Don't really want to see real fights. They want to They want to see certain fighters fight certain fighters at their worst, so they can say, "Oh, that black fighter lost." They
Yep.
want to see black fighters lose. They don't care if it's a fair fight. They don't care how it looks, as long as they can see black fighters lose.
Yep.
They don't even care how they lose.
Yep. And they don't keep that same energy when it's a Mexican fighter as opposed to black fighters. And that's why we're going to bring back the segment of double standards that's associated with boxing that we got from Floyd Mayweather and Andre Ward. We're going to start bringing back those lives because the biggest thing is Errol Spence washed Mikey Garcia. And y'all motherfuckers said, but he couldn't stop little Mikey. Y'all got to keep that same energy with Canelo, man.
Right.
This guy, 2 weight classes to a weight class he's never fought before. Canelo was supposed to stop him. I don't want to hear Canelo washed him. And that's not even a washing. A washing is 12-0 or 11-1 or 10-2. That's what a washing is. At the minimum, 10-2, 11-1, 12-0. That's what you call a wash. If you're not giving me 10-2, 11-1, 12-0, it ain't a fucking wash. That's just the way this shit works in boxing.
Right.
It's that fucking simple. And I didn't see none of that shit.
And on top of that, when you look at Charlo after that fight, he didn't even like he was in a fight.
Man, he didn't even look. He didn't have no hits on his face. His face didn't swell up. Nothing. So Canelo's power is extremely overrated, man. Canelo has what we call pop, but he doesn't have power. He doesn't have that world breaking power, man. He got fucking exposed.
Truth be told, the majority of the punches Canelo threw hit Charlo on the shoulders and the arms.
Yep.
They didn't even count. That wide margin they had Canelo winning. I think it was 8-4. Canelo really like 9-3. Canelo really won like 7-5, man.
Yep.
7-5, 8-4 at best. It wasn't 9-3 because a lot of the punches he threw.
I had it 8-4 Canelo.
A lot of punches Canelo was throwing didn't even count.
Yep.
He's forever hitting people on the shoulders. Like, bro, just get accurate and learn how to fight. So you don't try to think, oh, if I break down their arms, they won't be able to hit me back. Then I can get free punches. Like, bro, real boxers don't think that way.
And I only had it 8-4 because Jamel was in survival mode. Antonio Tarver was right. Mel was in survival. Mel respected Canelo way too fucking much in that fight. And that's why I had it 8-4. Because if Mel would have let his hands go, we would have been talking about a 7-5 or a draw. That's what we would have been talking about. Let's be honest.
Right. But the reason why you had to watch the Bill fight to get the taste out of your mouth, because you're not paying attention. You should have known going into that fight that Canelo was going to win that fight.
Yep.
What you should have known. He chose him because he can't beat him.
Now, all you had to do was listen to me and Ross when we told you that Mel was basically fighting a fight that was more that he needed to fight. He was biting more than he needed to. And let's be honest, Mel was ducking Tim's shoe. We done told you that. I don't know why you guys thought Jamel Charlo was a guy who was going to be an opposing opponent for Canelo Alvarez. First of all, he's never fought at 168. Secondly, he's never fought at 160. Forget 168. He's never fought at 160. So he was ducking Tim's shoe because he knew that fight meant more to him. He wanted to be able to keep his undisputed status at 154. This is what we call advanced level ducking. Our platforms are the first one to use the terminology advanced level ducking, by the way. I'm sure people in boxing worlds are using that shit now, but we're the first ones. He ducked Tim's shoe because he knew that fight was going to be a situation that was going to expose him even further. Imagine how much more of an impact that you lose your undisputed after defending it. That would have hurt. The ramification off of that would have said, are you really undisputed? Because to prove that you're undisputed is not just to win undisputed. See, people forget that. People think just winning undisputed makes you undisputed. No. When you are certified champion is when you win the first defense after you win the championship. That certifies your championship. In boxing, that's how that shit works. So he knew that fighting Tim Shue would have meant that it would have been the defense of his undisputed, and he didn't want to lose that. So he went up 2 weight classes to get a fucking payday to do an advanced level ducking, man. That's what this shit is all about.
And this is why I tell people undisputed nowadays is overrated, and it probably already was. If we probably look
Mhm.
into if we look into the history of boxing and see who got the title shots, when they got it, and who got fucked, it probably always was overrated. But this level of undisputed is overrated because guess what? You know what he just did by doing that? Now he made it that much harder for us to call a real champion at 154 because he got stripped now.
Salute to Matt Perez. He said, "Bro, I know your name is HeKnowsEverything, but you've been pretty much right about this whole Spence-Crawford rematch. Saturday confirmed Spence took the fall to build Bud's stock and popularity." You know why he's saying that? Because of the performance he saw with Ugas and fucking Barrios. He saw that. Everyone that saw the way Ugas performed after 18 months of not coming back, and they were like, damn, Spence broke this motherfucker. He broke this nigga. Spence broke this nigga to the point to where Barrios, who's not even a boxer, was able to do what he did against him. That's how people could know Errol was not Errol. Now people are understanding what He Knows Everything and Tom Ross is saying, what He Knows Everything and Brick by Brick is saying, what Michael Jai White is saying, what Abel Sanchez is saying. It's starting to understand. And then there's this other YouTuber. I did a shorts on him. I sent Ross the link. Now you're starting to see YouTubers are asking the fucking question about Terence Crawford and calling them out. They're even going on Twitter calling Terence Crawford out. Why the fuck you don't want to fight at 154? People are you starting to use their fucking brains, man. Yeah. And here's the thing. Ross said something that was so powerful on his live the other day. And it's reigning true. They made people punish Canelo Alvarez and Jamel Charlo because of Spence and Crawford, because they saw in Spence and Crawford that wasn't what they were supposed to see in front of them. They knew that fight wasn't supposed to look like that.
Right.
To bring up Terence Crawford and elevate him the way that they did. Come on, man. That's only something you could write out of a fairy tale fucking book.
People gotta ask yourself one thing. I personally don't think Mel could beat Canelo anyway. But when you look at the fight, you can see he wasn't trying to beat Canelo. Not only do I think he could if he wanted to, but when you watch the fight, he's not even really trying to beat Canelo. It's like he came in there to avoid fighting Tim Tszyu and to get a payday. If he was going to lose, he was going to lose on his own terms, and he was going to get paid for it, and he wasn't going to do what was best for boxing. What's best for boxing is if Canelo would have fought Benavidez Saturday. That's what's best for boxing because Jamal Charlo, he's not available. That's what's best for boxing. What's best for boxing is if Crawford fights Errol Spence at 154. Because we know Errol Spence can't make 147 no more. But everybody who cries about boxing allows boxing to be corrupt and allows it to be lackluster because they put race, they put personal pride above the product. So they would rather see a black fighter fight at a disadvantage and automatically lose than to see a real fight. And what brought that shit to my eyes and to make it to where I could have denied that boxing was ready anymore was the Tyson Fury Deontay Wilder shit. Everybody knew something was wrong with that fight, but people act like they did it just because they saw a black man lose. What they don't know is that hurts. A lot of Mexicans might be like, yeah, man, you know, I'm happy that nigga lost, blase, blase. But you watching, you allowing fighters to cheat and not saying nothing. That's the reason why that one Spanish dude could barely walk now. Picard. Because they allowed him to fight a guy with loaded gloves that was punching him in the back of his head. So when you turn your eye to shit, it come back on your people as well. Buddy was normal when he went into that fight. But he came out that fight, he had lost all coordination, and people don't realize how much your mind controls. If your mind ain't intact, it controls the way you look. Your mind is holding all your facial muscles and shit together. You look the way you look because your face is being controlled by your brain and the nervous system. If you was to lose control over your mind, your face won't even look right. It's why another thing, if you have a stroke or something, you
That's
won't
why
look the
they
same
say,
anymore.
yep. I knew that's where he
So,
was going with that.
so people need to understand, man. You can't turn the blind eye to cheating and rig fights just because it just affects black people. That's it. Because soon enough, it's gonna start affecting your people too.
Yep.
That's when I knew motherfuckers don't really care about the sport. They care about the so-called bragging rights and being able to attack certain races through boxing, even if the fight's not even legit or not. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Well, it goes back to what you said, man. Uh, Salute to Terry Thomas for the $10 cash app. But it goes back to what you said, man. Um, and Ross, I think you need to pop your collar right now because you prophesied this so many years ago, and people just kind of went a blind eye on it. Racism in boxing. You remember when you first showed up on my channel?
Yeah.
You said boxing is racist, man. And motherfuckers was like, who the fuck is this Tom Ross, man? Get this Tom Ross off your fucking channel. Why does he always want to talk about race or whatever? But look, every time something happens, every time something takes place, racism shows it rears its ugly head. Because if it was a black fighter that performed the way Canelo did, what would people have said? He got exposed. But when it's
That
Canelo that performs like that, what do they say? Oh, he washed him. So is that not racist?
if Canelo barely beats or doesn't knock out Jamal Charlo, I understand. If Canelo don't knock out Benavidez but wins, I understand. Those are big guys, man. Those
Yep.
are real 168 middleweight pounders. You could
Yep.
argue that Benavidez is really a light heavyweight that's coming down to 168. I don't
Yep.
understand that, but you can't be both a master boxer puncher and fight a guy that moved up 2 weight classes and not get a stoppage.
Yep.
So why am I holding? Listen, I had to sit and watch these standards be put on Floyd for what? I ain't gonna say I was following Floyd for 20 years. I'll be a lie. I started following Floyd probably like 98, no later than 2000. 98, I can't remember, 98 or 2000. But I've been following his career long enough to know he was held to unfair standards. All I'm doing
Yep.
is hold the same standards they put on Floyd on everybody else.
Yep.
And we know if somebody moved up 2 weight classes to fight Floyd at 147 and Floyd didn't stop them, we'll have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll know that in his prime, we'll have a problem with that, man. So I'm holding him to the same standards. He's supposed to be great.
Yep.
He's supposed to be. Some people call Canelo the GOAT.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Floyd didn't fight not one person in his last 10 fights that moved up 2 weight classes to fight him. Please
Yep.
keep context. I understand women. I understand women can keep context and their emotions in the same thing. So a woman will change the whole subject because her emotions say change the subject, you're losing. But a man, I expect you to be able to keep context. We're talking Marquez didn't move up 2 weight classes to fight Floyd.
Yeah, but here's the problem. You're dealing with most men nowadays with mangina.
Marquez was already a welterweight when he fought Floyd.
Yep.
And he was same size as Manny. Manny, Marquez, and Floyd aren't big men. They're small men. Floyd has a bigger skeletal. He has a bigger bone structure. Floyd is not bigger than Manny Pacquiao or Marquez as far as stature. He has a bigger bone structure, but he's not as bigger than them. He's not that much taller than them. He's not like he's 6'3". It's not like he gets up to 180 pounds. Floyd can barely make 152 pounds. Floyd Marquez did not come up from 135 to fight Floyd Mayweather.
Yep.
That's a lie.
Make sure y'all donate to motivate, man. I mean, we got 28 motherfuckers in here, man. I mean, we dropping that heat and that fire. Let's make sure we donate to motherfucking motivate, man. So let's keep on going.
And that's another thing people need to understand. How much exposing has been going on in these fights, man. Think about it. Errol Spence beat Ugas so bad that Ugas couldn't even beat somebody who fucking what's the boy name? Tank Davis beat.
Yep.
And you mean to tell me the same guy who did that to Ugas looked like that against Terence? Terence Crawford's not that good. He's never been that good. He struggled against everybody he fought. But if you
Mm-hmm.
but a person believing that, it's like a grown man who still believes wrestling is real.
Exactly.
People believe wherever they want to believe, as long as their favorite wrestler.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Whenever you confront a boxing fan that their favorite fighter, Ugas never looked. Ugas, it don't matter if Ugas had 30 losses before he fought Spence.
Yep.
Ugas never looked that way that he looked yesterday.
Yep.
That means Saturday. Never.
Yep.
That's because of Spence.
Well,
Because
here's the thing.
hold on. One more thing. The Ugas that had 4 losses before he beat Spence beat the fuck out of Manny Pacquiao.
Facts.
So
He
what are
did.
you saying? Yeah.
Exactly. Beat the snot out of Manny Pacquiao. But here's the thing. Their favorite fighters like Canelo Alvarez and all of these guys, didn't they fight all of these lists of opponents that they use? Didn't these guys have multiple losses? When they say, well, he beat Sugar Shane Mosley, didn't Sugar Shane Mosley have multiple losses? When they say he beat Miguel Cotto, did Miguel Cotto have multiple losses? I'm using these names as a point to make the point that when you say Ugas had 4 losses, what the fuck are you trying to say? Fighters have losses. Everyone's not Floyd Mayweather. This is what people got to understand. There's a reason why Floyd Mayweather is the greatest of all time. He's the only one that could walk around and say nobody beat me. But every fighter from Muhammad Ali down has losses. So you're a boxing casual when you mention Ugas had 4 losses. And let's look at his 4 losses. What? Technical loss against Sean Porter when he actually won that fight. So really, was that a fucking loss? I mean, everyone knows Ugas beat Sean Porter. So really, did he have 4 losses or did he have 3 losses? If we're being technical here.
Right.
So it's just funny how people want to use bullshit to try to buffer their points. The problem is it goes back to racism and it goes back to the double standards that's associated with boxing. People don't keep that same energy. Canelo was exposed. He was getting hit with 1-2-piece combos. If you were really watching the fight and you weren't a casual, you would have been like, damn, why is Mel at some point in the fight hitting this motherfucker with combinations? Let me explain why. Like I said, Canelo Alvarez's head movement is subpar at best. It's overrated. He can't help the fact that he has a Caucasian Mexican physiology, which means he's limited as fuck. He doesn't have a black Hebrew physiology that allows him to be slick. He tries to be slick, but he's limited to his Caucasian Mexican physiology. He's basically limited to his white physiology. It's a limited as fuck physiology. It doesn't allow him to be slick. No matter how he tries to go like this, he doesn't have our body structure to be able to be fully slick. He tries to copy a Mexican. He tries to copy a Mayweather style, and he looks bad doing it. Mikey Garcia looks like a better Mexican Mayweather than this motherfucker. If you want me to be honest with you, and even he's trash, and he looks better than Canelo Alvarez with that shit. Canelo Alvarez is a guy who fights in spots. That's why he had to be on clenbuterol. Spence doesn't have a white physiology. You don't understand shit that you talking.
Man, dudes is here trolling.
No, but I'm gonna say this again. I just want to say this point. I'm gonna put his ass on time, but I just want to say this point real quick. Spence doesn't have a white physiology.
Look at him. Look at his face.
Just look at him.
White man will never.
Nothing about him says that he has your physiology. The dude that's talking right now is white. That's why he's getting offended. Nothing about Spence tells him that he is inferior. He has an inferior trait like you. You have an inferior trait. So I understand that you're mad. You're not us. You don't look like us. You don't have our hair. You don't have our physiology. You don't have our dicks. You probably been fucked. Your woman's probably been fucked by dudes that look like us. So you're mad. We get it.
Right.
Every white guy that I've come across with, whether it was in the military or guys that I know, they feel some type of way. Well, now we don't know that because last time I checked, anybody that doesn't have a picture, but anyone that doesn't have a picture, like we always say, Ross, we don't know. I told you we were gonna turn this around. Because at the end of the day, well, when you say you mixed race, it all depends. Let me guess. Your father's white? I guarantee you your father is white. I guarantee you your
If
father
your
is white.
father is white, there's no such thing as mixed. You are what
Yes,
your father is.
exactly.
Ain't no
I
such thing as mixed.
guarantee you his father is white. I fucking guarantee you that shit.
Ain't no such thing as mixed.
That's why I kept harping on it, Ross. Because one thing about me and you, we know how to get people hot and bothered like grits in the comment section. That's why I kept harping on it. I wanted to get him hot real quick. Now,
But
here's what I'm about to do. We're not going to show you no more love because you're not donating to motivate. So how about this? Your ass get put on timeout. When you know how to donate to fucking motivate, then we'll entertain you again. So go back to your point, Ross.
but the stupidity of people saying, since Charlo should have been pound for pound, that means that was a good fight. First of all, they even though he should have been on the pound for pound list because he was undisputed, he wasn't. So he wasn't on the pound for pound list. Number one, and not because two people on the pound for pound list don't mean they should be fighting each other.
Exactly.
What does that mean? Fucking the dude for Japan. No way, anyway. He's on the pound for pound list. Should he fight Terence Crawford next? Does that make sense for him to fight Terence Crawford? He's on the pound for pound list. No. At the end of the day,
Ross, hold on for a second. I want you to answer this shit here. Please break this shit down. And then go back to your point.
no, it's not. That's not how it goes. Because a child's DNA, 99% of the child's DNA come from their father, man.
Thank you.
Because you coming out of the baby comes out of the father. It's cultivated in the woman.
Yep.
In her egg. All the
Yep.
DNA, everything about the child
Yep.
is already in the father.
Yep.
Yeah, it gets some of the mother's DNA from the egg, but the majority of the DNA, that's why you think when you take a blood test or you take a DNA test to prove if a kid is yours, guess what? It's 99.9.
Exactly.
When you and your mother make a match, you don't have 99.9 of your mother's DNA because your mother's DNA is tied into her dad.
Yep.
Now your mother and your uncle who got the same dads have 99.9 DNA because it goes back to their father.
Exactly.
Yeah, the spirit don't come from no mother. You must be what? The spirit how if that's the case, if the spirit came from the mother, she wouldn't need to have sex with no man to have a child.
Exactly.
She was just think of having a kid, or she was just get pregnant.
Exactly.
The life source, the spark of the life comes from the man.
Why do every time they do a blood test, they have to find out who the father is? Notice they don't always say who the mother is on the blood test. They always have to find out who the father is. There's a reason for that.
They need that. They gotta understand. If some of these dudes don't understand, they have sex and don't even understand what sex is.
No, they weren't raised with a father. That's what it is, bro.
And you're not supposed to have sex. You're really not supposed to have sex for pleasure. It's supposed to be to procreate.
Yep.
And because you have to have sex to procreate, and it has to be a man and a female, that means the life source is coming from somewhere. And then, so if you're saying, from what you're saying is there's no life in semen. So why semen come out then?
Exactly.
Why do sperm move if there's no life? Why don't they come out? Why don't they come out and just float? Why do they move and search for the egg? They're already living.
Yep.
The child is living from the time it comes out of the man's penis. It's living.
Yep.
So nothing you saying makes any source of sense, but it seems as if you're one of those dudes who worship women.
He speaks from a mangina standpoint. That's what it is.
Yeah, he's one of those dudes that worship women.
He wasn't raised with a father. That's what it is.
Based upon what? Based upon what is a baby spirit manifested through the mother? Based upon what?
All the mother is a carrier. That's it.
She carries.
That is it. Her job is to carry the life that the man put in her.
It's a little more complicated than that because the child does feed off the woman to survive. So a woman might start losing hair. Her bones might start getting brittle because the child's taken from the woman to be cultivated. But the actual DNA, the actual life spark, like you don't know that sperm is living when it comes out of a man. You don't know that all the sperm is living, but only one gets to the egg first. You ain't know that. You thought sperm was dead, and you thought the sperm's dead until it touched the egg. The sperm is living, and the egg is what doesn't have any life until this penetrated by the sperm. Egg doesn't have life. The sperm has life.
Yep.
What school did you go to? You don't know this? I knew this shit at 10 years old.
And I knew the shit since 10 too.
You think the eggs of a woman have life? No, they don't have life until the sperm enters the egg. Yep. That's the actual child going into the cocoon, basically.
Yep. That's why when she's ovulating, what happens? What does she need to do when she's ovulating? She needs to have sex. And what does that man have to do in sex when she's ovulating? He has to inseminate her. How does he inseminate her? He busts his fucking nuts in her. Right. Like, come on. Do we need to go through anatomy and biology again? Do we need to break this shit down again?
Dark Kent, hey man, I know you Mexican, so I know you just want to protect Canelo's name, but Canelo did get exposed.
Yep.
He was supposed to stop. He was supposed to stop Charlo.
Yep.
If you're so good, so you don't have to fight, because he's saying he didn't have to fight Andre because he's superior to Andre. That he didn't have to fight Jamal Charlo because he's superior to Jamal Charlo.
Yep.
And he didn't have to fight Benavidez because he's superior to these guys. That they haven't done nothing. I'm superior to them. Then if you're that superior, you're supposed to stop Jamel Charlo coming from 154.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm doing, y'all holding Canelo to a fair standard that you should have held Floyd to. I'm holding Canelo to the same standard Floyd was held to.
Mm-hmm.
People was saying Floyd wasn't shit because he wasn't stopping people in his last part of his career. As if you're supposed to continue stopping people throughout your whole career. So I'm holding him to the same standard Floyd was held to. And it's easier because he don't fight the competition Floyd fights.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Nothing you're saying about DNA is right at all.
Ross, I already put him on timeout. It's stupid. He's a female. I already realized this is a female that's talking. It's not even a male, it's a female.
Yeah, man. So at the end of the day, it's like if that goes to show you just how much when someone likes a boxer, they'll change the whole subject and start talking about some other shit to protect that boxer, man.
But that's what it is. They got manginas, man.
This nigga started talking about DNA and babies and all. Like, bro, at the end of the day,
Charlo know that he's talking about shit that he don't even understand. Shit that he can't even comprehend.
At the end of the day, Canelo was exposed. You can't say Canelo looked good in that fight. That somebody brought up, well, Floyd fought Marquez. Floyd looked phenomenal when he fought Marquez.
Yep.
And Floyd wasn't trying to knock out Marquez. He was just simply outboxing him. Canelo was trying to knock out Charlo and couldn't.
He was trying to.
And couldn't.
I'm gonna say this point, Ross. I have not in my whole life, I have not met a white boy or a white male that has not been fascinated by me as a black man or a black male. Fascinated by the way that I look, fascinated by the way that I carry myself, fascinated, period. They always come up to you and be like, man, how do you get like that? How do you look like that? How do you? Because they want to be like you. They want to emulate you. Why am I saying that? Canelo Alvarez, after he got beat up by Floyd Mayweather, he tried to emulate a black slickster style, but the GOAT version of a black slickster style. He just doesn't have the physiology and the DNA to emulate it. Have you ever had the white boys, we used to call them, remember them dudes, they used to give themselves their names, white chocolate, because they wanted to feel like they part of the group, right? But they want to emulate everything. They want to have the same hairstyle that you have. They want to be able to push the same weight that you could push, but they was always the weakest one. They was always the weak link. You want to know why? Because their physiology is limited to that.
Yep.
They're not us. And I always have to have that honest, truth serum with them. I'm like, man, how do I get like you? You can't. You're not created like me. You're not built like me. You can try. You can hope to get there. You know, I mean, you know, it's good that you putting in work. It's the effort you're making, but you will never be me.
I mean, with PEDs, you can get down there close, but you need
Damn
PEDs.
Right. Damn right.
The black men Arnold Schwarzenegger was competing against in those muscle competitions, they weren't on steroids.
They weren't.
Two of them was vegetarians. All they ate was fucking greenery.
Exactly.
So that goes to show you don't have to eat meat for protein. Protein's in fucking is in vegetables. Exactly. But Arnold Schwarzenegger had to use anabolic steroids to compete with those guys.
Yep.
Because the DNA structure.
Yep.
I'm Cuban and Nigerian black. The fact that you say you're Cuban and black
and black,
unless you're a Spaniard, like
yeah,
fucking,
exactly.
Then Cuban is black. So
okay,
that right there lets me know where your mentality is.
Which one? We're gonna start making motherfuckers identify who's Cuban and who's black. Your mom or your dad? Who's Cuban and who's Nigerian? Your mom or your dad? And we need to know that. Break that down to us. Tell us in the comment section. We're gonna start exposing niggas here. And motherfuckers here. Who is black? Your dad or your mom?
But he's I believe a lot of people don't have a command over the English language. They just speak from their feelings. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna break this down when he says, I'm a Cuban and Nigerian, quotations black, as if that's different. But anyway, a lot
of people don't want to associate with looking like us. That's what it is, bro.
So I don't give a fuck about Canelo. I don't consider him getting exposed because he is what he is. I think he's good, but overhyped. If he's overhyped, then he got exposed.
And why do you having to say you're Cuban and Nigerian black have anything to do with that? Like, why even say that?
When you don't live up to the hype, that's what makes you exposed. So when you say he's good, but he's overhyped, that means he got exposed. You can't be overhyped and not be exposed.
And notice he avoided the question. He won't tell us who is Cuban and who's black, his mom or his dad. And what kind of Cuban, though? We need to know that. Is it your mom or dad is white Cuban, Spaniard, black? Because we need to understand that.
Mostly that, what people don't realize is it's the same curses. So just like we got black niggas who wish they was white and Creoles who try to pass off as white people and shit, we have Cubans who wish they were white too. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So he's one of those typical Cubans who probably got a white Jesus in their house and shit. Probably got those candles with Virgin Mary or white woman and shit. He probably one of those people. So they kind of lost until God waked them up. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, Canelo's overrated, which means since he's overrated, when he performs, he's exposed because he's not living up to the standard that they said he is.
Yep.
So he's overrated. Bro, we're past the father DNA shit. We're done with that conversation.
Let me do this real quick. Let me put this motherfucking time out, man.
Yeah.
The fuck is he talking about? That's exactly what I mean. I'm black. Mom, Cuban, dad's Nigerian. Okay, you're African. Okay, that's what you are. You're African.
What?
So by descent, you're African. That's what you are.
Yeah.
Because there's black Hebrew, and then there's black African. So you're black African by descent, and there's a difference.
Well, in mentality, the average Cuban, the average Mexican, the average Puerto Rican, in mentality are the same thing. Because y'all behave as if Latino is a race, and it's not. Latino is a nationality. It's a way of life. Like Haitian is a way of life. It's not a race. DNA structure, man, he knows is the same.
Yep.
But they have certain customs that we have, but they call them different. They prepare their food different. They have a different we have Ebonics, which is broken English. They got Creole, which is broken French. But we're the same. We get mad the same. We correct people the same. Our parents get on us the same.
Yeah.
They might say it a certain way, but your mother's gonna be overbearing because you got a black mother. You know
Let me say this real quick. Yeah. It doesn't matter what your mom is. This is the problem. Y'all been taught the wrong way. It matters what your father is. I hear you say your mom's black skin tone. It matters what your father is. You said right there, mom Cuban, dad's Nigerian. So because your dad's Nigerian, you're African. That's it. You are what your father is, man. It's in the Bible. Your
Nah,
DNA, your physiology is depicted based on your father. That's your genealogy.
I got to break something else down because people just be talking. He said there's only one race, and that's the human race. Y'all let white people tell y'all anything.
Yep.
Human is a species. It's not a race.
Exactly. Yep.
It's a species.
Yep.
Every species, there's different types of species. Dog is a species, but you got pit bulls, you got poodles, you got German shepherds. They all the dogs, but they're not the same.
They're not the same.
Birds is a species. You got eagles, you got doves, you got hawks. They all birds, but they not all the same.
Exactly.
Fish, species.
Yep.
You got cod, you got catfish. God damn it. You got swordfish, marlins. They all fish, but they're not the same.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So you gotta understand, man. Stop just listening to anything. And all because somebody's favorite rapper don't mean y'all live by celebrities.
Y'all live by celebrities. We don't. We live by the truth.
I said, Kanye, being a genius at something don't mean you know everything.
Exactly.
Howard Hughes was a genius, industrialist genius, but he didn't even know how to manage his life. But he knew how to create aircraft.
Yep.
But he couldn't manage day-to-day life. Being a genius don't mean you know everything.
Nope.
So there's a lot of things that one thing I would tell Kanye, he learns once if he has the right information, he says the right things. If he don't have the right information, he says the wrong things. He learns as much as information is. The last time somebody talked to him about that shit, they probably told him, the humans is a race. But truth be told, humans is a species.
Yep.
And you're justifying being totally wrong and saying something stupid as fuck based upon what Kanye West said. Ain't you a man?
Exactly.
Be a man. Why you bring Kanye West up? You the one that said that dumb shit. That as if since Kanye West said it's not dumb. People can say dumb shit that I fuck with. That don't mean that they're dumb. Every now and then you say some shit without thinking, oh, that was dumb. You know what I'm saying? What's a race and what's a species? Okay, humans are species. And species are categorized in the male species, female species, and then once you get to, okay, this is a male species, female species, they're categorized by phenotypes and races.
Salute to Marquise for the $10 cash out.
By phenotypes and races. Now you have the race that God made us, and you have the race that the white man had changed us to be.
There you go.
Because there's no black, white, Mexican, Latino, none of that shit in the scriptures. You have actual people. You had Edomites, you had Hebrews, you had Ishmaelites, Arabs. So it all depends on what you want. You want the truth, or you want what the white man said. I'm gonna give you what the white man says because I'm quite sure that's what you want. So in races, you have what they call the so-called African or African descent. Those are people who originated in Africa, like people who originated in Asia or China and blah blah blah. So Chinese is a race. That's a race. You know what I'm saying? Black. Actually, and being the term black, that's not a race. That's a color.
Yep.
For instance, Latino is not a race. That's a specific language, and that's a religion. The Roman Catholic Church religion. That and a lot of people are Latin, right? Like French people are Latin because their language is Latin based, Spanish is Latin based, English is Latin based. Those are languages and religions. Race comes down to DNA.
Yep.
Chinese people got a totally different DNA from black people. We're all the same species, but we're not the same race. White people have a totally different DNA structure than black people because we're all the same species. We don't have the same race. That's the difference, man. You can look at people and tell their phenotypes. If we were all the same, we would all look the same.
But how did you know this, Ross? You actually pick up a fucking book and read. A lot of people don't pick up fucking books and read, and they're just going off of what people tell them. That's all.
Yeah, man. That's what people need to understand, man. And another thing people need to understand: Africa is a continent that it wasn't even originally named Africa. It was named something else.
Exactly.
White man named Africa.
Whoosh.
White man is a continent, and everybody on Africa not even the same.
You
Because
tell them too much, man.
Africa is not a race. Africa is a bunch of people who live on that continent.
Yep.
But on that continent, you got people from Mali, you got people from Ghana, you got people from Israel, from Northern Africa.
Uh-huh.
You got everybody's not the same. That's what I mean. Everybody ain't the same. So you got different species, like you got different dogs, different cats, different snakes. They the same species, but all snakes don't look alike.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's just that simple.
If you follow the platform of He Knows Everything and Tom Ross, He Knows Everything brick by brick, you always gonna get school. It's an everyday schooling for you. Every fucking day. And we're the only platform that will school you every day. Everything Ross said, I don't need to follow up and say anything behind it, because guess what? He broke it down to a simple science. And when he's breaking down, y'all need to get the notepads out and get to the damn scribbling. It's that damn simple. When you think you know, you come fuck with us, you gonna really know. So all this shit about I'm African, that's not what you are. You need to find out who identified you as that, who labeled you as that. And it's very simple, because you won't find that word Africa or African in the Bible. You're not gonna find that. Now, I'm gonna leave it at that. Now, let's get back onto this whole mangina shit in the world, because I want to segue into that. Usher, Jimmy Butler. I saw Jimmy Butler today. That shit repulsed me. This motherfucker got a damn near a perm, like women get their hair a perm, and then he got on black nails talking about that's his new swag. That ain't no new swag. What is going on with the emasculation of Hebrew men? You notice they're targeting Hebrew men specifically.
Right.
What is up with that, bro?
Well, they got to for them to keep their reign over us. Scriptures say they got to keep us in sin. So, when you read, because people think they globalize the Bible. The Bible is made for one specific people with one specific God going through specific things. But they globalized it and made it a book for everybody, but it's not. But when you look into it, the way the people kept control over us, where they gave us things to do that was against our nature. Like the Egyptians got us hooked on their idol gods, got us hooked on eating outside of our dietary, how we're supposed to eat. All this stuff brings us down. We're not like everybody else.
Yep.
We can't eat everything.
Yep.
Everybody else can eat. Some of these people are built like pigs. A pig can eat anything. A pig can eat this phone just like it eats a piece of steak.
Yep.
A pig's body could digest this phone.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? These people, they can eat anything. We can't. That's why we eat bad too long, we get diabetes.
Yep.
We eat bad too long, we get high blood pressure. Because we supposed to eat the specific thing, but they know as long as they keep us in a low vibration, they can control us.
Yep.
So you're gonna always see random acts of killing, violence. You can always hear a rape and pestilence in the black community. You gonna always they want to keep that negative vibration on us. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And they really want to put that bisexuality on us, because that goes with their overall goal of making it a sexless society. They want it to be a raceless society, a sexless society, and a godless society.
Yep. Preach.
That's what they want. So, but how they hide behind it is they will say, "Oh, he wasn't looking like, he wasn't trying to look androgynous, or trying to look like a woman. He was trying to look like the anime characters." But if you know anything about the anime characters from Japan, if you know anything about what happened to Japan, Japan got feminized. Japan wasn't known for anime before they got hit with Hiroshima, those bombs. They were known for samurais, ninjas. They was known for violence. Japan was known for getting shit popping. That war feminized them. Did you know majority of men in Japan don't even have sex? No, I lived in Japan, man. Majority of the men in Japan are incels. They avoid women. Yeah, that war really turned their country upside down. So the art that they make is feminine and well as well. So when you say I'm gonna dress up like an anime character, majority of you basically dressing like a woman,
Mm-hmm.
or it drives this character to where there's really no masculinity in the character. You know what I'm saying? But that ain't
Mm-hmm.
nothing but a front for what they really want to do. What they really
Yep.
want is black men to be wearing dresses and women to be dressed like men. So there's no gender. They want a genderless society. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, J. Joe, I don't walk around acting like I'm perfect. I'm gonna put that out there. So, are you perfect, man? That's all I want to know.
Right. Right,
Because
because I got a
last
tattoo.
time
I
I
don't go
checked.
get tattoos anymore, but I got a
Mm-hmm.
tattoo, man. You when you know better, you'll do better, man.
But last time I checked, Yahweh Shah said, "He who is without sin be the first to cast the stone." Man, like
Yeah,
I always have to say that because
you got,
if you walking around every day as you perfect, you can throw your stone at me, man. If you haven't sinned, throw your stone at me. If you not fucking no, if you fucking white women, throw your stone. Then you can't throw
right,
no stone at me. If you out here having sex and you not sitting here and having it for procreation reason, throw your stone at me. If you
right.
have not today woke up, if you have not today woke up and haven't thought malicious thoughts, which is sin in of itself, throw your stone at me, man. We as men, every day we wake up, just in our thoughts, we willfully sin, dog. So at the end of the day, throw your stone at me if you are perfect, bro. Because the
Um,
mentality you have it right now is a Pharisee mentality.
all sin,
That's the
all sin,
mentality you have it right now.
all sin is willfully. Everything you do is willfully. You know what I'm saying? All sin is willfully. What does that mean? Willfully sin is different. All sin is the same. You can't
Exactly.
you can't find that in the Bible nowhere. The thing is, people make up stuff as they go on. The Christian church still got a hook on us, man.
Yep.
That's a Christian church mentality to make up scripture and make up doctrine as you go along.
Yeah.
God don't impede on our on our inherent self will. He doesn't
Mm-hmm.
even do that. So everything you choose to do, no one's making you do it.
Yep.
So all sin is willfully. The problem
Yep.
is you was being judgmental, and you refuse to humble yourself and say, you know what, you right. I'm out of pocket. So you want to keep leaning on that as if you don't do anything wrong,
Exactly.
as if you don't sneak and watch porn when you know you shouldn't be doing it. You
Exactly.
don't got no struggles. You don't eat pork.
Exactly.
You follow all 613 commandments.
Yes.
Like, bro, we were made. You weren't made to wake up in the morning and to plan sin. I think you meant to plan the sin.
Yeah.
You probably not planning the sin. Like, I'm gonna wake up in the
Mm-hmm.
morning and I'm gonna go rob these niggas, blase, blase. But at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the day, whether you plan the sin or not, the fact that you do sin, you should be careful on being judgmental. Now, I'm not saying
Mm-hmm.
you wrong. I'm not saying you wrong.
I'm not acting
Yeah,
like I'm wrong here. I'm not acting like I'm wrong here when you mention the tattoo. I don't have nothing to say against that. That's a choice I made. I made that choice in my carnal mind. I made that choice. So I don't go against you when you say that. But at the end of the day, I want to know. Because if I follow you in your day-to-day life, bro,
right.
I'm gonna find out there's gonna be some sins going on with you that I could sit there and turn around and
Right,
say, why you doing that, bro? Why
right,
you sinning like that? See, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what you're doing on a
right.
day-to-day
And
basis.
right now, he's not speaking in good faith.
No,
He's using
he's not.
scripture, but he's hiding his character behind the scripture. The
It,
scripture is always going to be right. But what we're saying is, it's easy for you to look and see someone on camera and say,
mhm.
"Oh, you doing something that I know you're not supposed to be doing. You wrong for that." Blase,
Yep.
blase, blase. It's
Yep.
easy for you to do that when you're anonymous,
Yes.
and you're anonymous. You sin as well.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's what the scripture. What you just wrote doesn't surpass the scripture that was just said when it says, "He without sin cast the first stone." He ain't say he
Hmm.
who willfully sinned. He ain't say
Yep.
he who who didn't plan to sin, who sinned by accident. He said, he who is without sin cast the first
Sin.
stone.
Period.
You're not without sin, but you're casting
Yes.
stones. At the end of the day,
Yes.
you're wrong, brother.
Yep. Yep.
Right. And you willfully sin yourself.
Exactly. He knows that.
You know what I'm saying? So we're
Some
not
of our
saying,
Hebrew brothers, they have that Pharisee and Sadducee mentality. They can't help it, bro. They want to nitpick at you, but they want to act like their sepulchre is white, but it's filled with dead men's bones, dog.
right.
That's what they want to act like.
Now, let me get this straight. Now, let me tell you something. The Bible do say we
Go get that coffee.
I don't know the exact scripture, but we are supposed to hold each other accountable. But the way you did is not how a brother's supposed to do it.
Yep.
You don't have authority over this man. Y'all not in the camp. You ain't the leader of the camp. You supposed to get this brother offline and say, hey, brother, blase, I love you, man, but you're not supposed to get tattoos. You're not supposed to try to blast him all out in public.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And you have no right to admonish because he who without skin cast the first stone.
Exactly.
Y'all not associated with each other. We're talking about boxing, and you wouldn't point that out on the floor.
Yep.
But you have not admitted to the brothers your flaws, because we're supposed to admit to each other's flaws. And then
once you confess our faults one to another and pray for one for another, that ye may be healed. The effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. You're not confessing your faults, dog.
And that's the reason why what you're saying is not then the land where it's supposed to land.
It's not in good faith, man.
You're coming from a high horse. You have to confess your flaws.
Exactly.
But you're trying to admonish somebody you don't even know. That's like me going down the street and seeing a brother doing something. I don't know him, and I be like, "Hey, brother, you shouldn't be smoking that. You shouldn't be smoking that cigarette." And I slap that cigarette out of his mouth, and he's shooting me.
Yep. God knows.
We haven't got on that level where I can correct that brother. You don't know this brother.
Me and Ross, when we powwow, we call each other out, and guess what? We both know we ain't perfect, man. We both know we dealing with our shit. But guess what?
How do we
all
know
of
that?
us as men know that we're dealing with our shit, and you know how we know that? Because we talk about it.
We told each other.
Wow about it.
We told each other.
So
if I said, first of all, I wouldn't say it here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the right to say this on this platform in front of these people.
Yep.
Something I see a flaw in my brother. I would tell him over the phone. I'll text it.
Yep.
I don't have a right to do that. Number one. Yep. Number two. And if I did you know he'll be more receptive to me than you, because I have confessed my flaws, and I confess I have a problem with women. I confess I have a problem with pornography. He knows this.
Yes.
And we get on each other about this. That we got to do better about this. Got to do better about that. We're never gonna be perfect. But the way you did it,
the same problem Ross got. The same fucking problem Ross got.
but the way you did it is it can't be receptive, because we don't. No one even knows you like that.
You know why God holds me and Ross in a higher esteem and a higher regard than you? Because we're being honest about ourselves. You coming in here on a high horse, acting like your shit don't stink.
Right.
See, if you come in admitting your faults and saying, "Yo, this is what I struggle with. This is what I got going on," because we've already put it out there what we got going on. Then we can sit there and put you on this brother, he's coming from that place, but you're not coming from that place. You're coming from a place where you got to hit me left and right. Like, you perfect.
In life, things aren't what you deserve. Nobody gets what they deserve. And I don't even agree with what you're saying, but I like to take people's premise of what they're saying and debunk their premise, even if I don't agree. Yeah. You're saying Spence don't deserve a rematch in life. You don't get what you deserve. You get what you earn.
Yeah.
You get what you earn. Everything you earn, it might not be deserving to somebody else from the outside looking in. They can say you don't deserve that.
And I'm about to say some cold-hearted shit right here, Ross.
But
no one deserves your comment either.
Right. But God don't allow you to get anything that you don't deserve.
Exactly.
Either you earned it in the life before, or you earned it in this life. But anything you're going through, you deserve. You earned it.
And how does Spence not deserve? And how does Spence not deserve a rematch when Spence was the one that gave Terence Crawford the opportunity?
Yeah.
You don't make no damn sense when you said that.
Nah, you can't rebuke unless you're first of all, unless you have you have to have an office or a capacity in somebody's life to rebuke. You don't just
Yep.
walk up just rebuke random people you don't know. And
Yep.
you are within sin
Yep.
yourself.
Yep.
So you don't have to it's not I don't do the same sin as you so I can rebuke you.
Yeah, that's not how that
No,
shit works.
that's not
That's
how
how
it
that shit
works.
works.
That's not how it works, man.
No.
That's not how it works. You have to have that authority. It's kind of like a father and a son. A
Yeah.
father is not blameless. A father sinned, but the father has been put in that person's life through authority and a position to where he can rebuke that son.
Mm-hmm.
You have no authority and position in this man's life. He don't know you.
You got to
He
come
don't
in
even know that.
love. You
He
got
don't
to
even
come
know.
in love to
He
say
don't
what
even.
you got to say.
He don't even know if that picture is you. He don't know nothing about you.
I don't
For
know
him to,
nothing about you.
or for him to say, like what capacity do you hold in his life to rebuke him? And
Exactly.
what how prideful are you to say I can rebuke somebody?
Yep.
Well, how prideful are you to say I can judge somebody, I can rebuke somebody that you have no affiliation with,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not on your own. You're not even on your own shit.
Yep.
That the
You're
point
giving
isn't
godly judgment. You're not God.
the point isn't the point isn't can people rebuke each other, because people rebuke each other all the time in the scriptures. But notice, nobody rebuked nobody who didn't have an office in their life. You know why
Exactly.
Samuel? You know what? Not Samuel. Was it Samuel? You know Nathan. You know why Nathan was able to rebuke David? Because Nathan had an
Mm-hmm.
office in David's life.
Mm-hmm.
Nathan had an office. He was the prophet in David's
You
life.
using
He
that
had that.
scripture out of context because your judgment is not righteous because you're sinful. That's why that scripture is out of context. See, if you were sinless, then your scripture wouldn't be out of context. Judge lest ye be judged is more in context because of the fact that you're judging me, but you are a sinful being.
And then this is the reason why I really need people to start. Hold on, I'm finna go get something. I'm finna show you what I'm talking about.
You're judging out of context, man. I think you're dealing with some novice folks here, man. Actually, you can learn a thing or two just messing with this platform. You can learn a thing or two from me and Ross. I
Okay,
think it's the
so
other way around. You can actually learn from us.
when the Bible says the Bible is written in Hebrew and the Old Testament is written in Greek, and it's got translated. When it says judge, it's not always talking about actually judge and jury. You're right, you're wrong.
Exactly.
It's decision making, being decisive.
Yep.
It's concern, not discernment.
Mm-hmm.
You need to understand what the Bible's actually saying. Get a concordance, man.
Concordance to break it down. Thank you.
Get an interlinear Bible that actually got Hebrew in it.
Yep.
Get a concordance. That way you can know what the Bible's actually saying when it says
And
it.
not just spewing scriptures just to spew it. That's
Not
what you're
just
doing right now.
but all because some scriptures don't mean the same thing when broken down into Hebrew.
And we could tell immediately you're so
Do
out of
you
context
not
right
know the
now.
saints will judge the world? Are you a saint?
Yep.
Are you been put in that predicament? That's
Yep.
that's a hearty spirit to say I am a saint.
Saint. Yes.
Have you been brought up? Have you been placed in that on that pedestal by God?
Because we know in Timothy it tells us in the last perilous times, do we not know men will be lovers of themselves, boasters,
Yeah.
high-minded,
At,
traitors,
at,
haughty?
at this
That's what
point,
he's talking about.
at
You're
this
being
point, we're being
haughty right now.
at this point. This dude is he's very arrogant. He's very
Mm-hmm.
vain, and he's taking pride in the conversation being about him, and,
Yep.
and the conversation not being about all Israelites are not saints, even though they're Israelites.
Exactly.
Three-fourths shall be thrust through. 3/4 of us will not make it.
Will not make it.
So all Israelites are not saints.
Yep.
It's just like y'all need to read and understand what you're reading. Number two, we need to get back to the topic because you will have people who no one pays them attention in real life.
Yep.
No one values their opinion in real life. So when they get people actually valuing their opinion,
No, but you know what, Ross? You needed to say what you need to say for the other people to catch it, bro.
Yeah, but we can't. We gotta stay on topic because once we start doing that, everyone would think that they have the right to just disturb the conversation, just talk about whatever they want to talk about.
All right, so back to Usher
Yeah.
and Jimmy Butler. What you got to say on that?
What I have to say about that is it's typical, prototypical America.
Mm-hmm.
Prototypical America. They put a black face on everything, a so-called black face on everything. You know what I'm saying? So whenever they want to push something, whether it be Democrat Party, whether it be abortion, LGBT, they're gonna slap a black face on it. Why? Because they know most of us are easily impressionable people, and if a celebrity does it and it's cool for them, then that's the new trend, and it should be cool for us. You know what I'm saying? And that's what, the same way they had D Wade and LeBron James wearing purses with their chest out when they was in Miami, because they know that if they could have them do it, they could at least get their fan base.
Yep.
And that's it in a nutshell, right there. That's it in a nutshell. Yep. Yeah, man. What about you? What you think about it?
Man, here's my thing. When it's all said and done, the biggest thing is, the biggest thing is when people talk, and people move, you have to look at their motives, right? Jimmy Butler's motive is he sacrificed himself because he desperately wants to win an NBA championship. And if you notice, a lot of times people tell on themselves the first time. There's a beautiful poem from Maya Angelou that said that when a person shows you who they are the first time, believe them. Jimmy Butler is basically saying, we will win the NBA championship, and here's the reason why. How the fuck you gonna know you're gonna win the NBA championship before the season even started? There's 32 teams in the NBA. They had to emasculate you. They had to feminize you. They had to prostrate you. They had to make you put on a perm, and they had to make you put on black nails so that you could turn around and say that you're going to win the NBA title. Because if you promote this LGBTQ agenda, if you promote the emasculization and the feminization of promotion, then we're going to turn around and we're going to give you this title. We're going to give you a reward for it. The same thing with Usher. Let me go ahead and put this brother on timeout.
Yeah.
He's making it about him. Usher, they put Usher in a dress. And they tell Usher, okay, you know what? It sounds like you want to become a superstar again. You have to understand, Usher has not hit heights. The last height he hit was Confessions. Confessions sold 20 plus million. He has not replicated that success.
Right.
You've been watching Usher. Usher's been trying to replicate that success over and over again. Don't get me wrong. He's had bangers after bangers after bangers, but nothing has hit the Confessions level. He wants that again. So they said, okay, you want that level? You're going to have to be in a kilt. A kilt is a fucking dress. We're going to have to be in a dress, and you're going to have to promote this. You do this, we're going to give you another diamond album, another Confessions. So don't be surprised if you see him drop an album and it's hit Confessions level. Don't be surprised if Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat win an NBA title. Because when it comes to cats selling your soul, people will do that. Why am I saying all of this? Jamel Charlo did the same thing. Jamel Charlo sold his soul for money. All off of who? Shaming his brother. That's why when you see black beta male moisture YouTubers come in and say, well, how dare Big Charlo, how dare Jamal Charlo take a picture with Terence Crawford? So a man can't take a picture because he's sitting next to another man. Is he betraying his brother doing that? The betrayal is not a betrayal in the sense that he's taking a picture with another black man and his woman. They're probably talking, because at the end of the day, what people don't realize is boxers are friends behind closed doors. That's just like politicians. When they say Republican and Democrats, they are friends behind closed doors. So they can't take pictures. So that's a betrayal. Because I saw that shit on Blue Blood Sports TV, and I'm sitting there scratching my head. What the fuck is he talking about? The betrayal is Jermell Charlo knowing that Jermell Charlo wanted to fight Canelo Alvarez for a decade. We're talking about since 2013. What year are we in, Ross?
2023.
That's 10 fucking years. You
Yeah.
knew your brother's been calling this motherfucker out for 10 years, a decade. And then you go and take the fight. That is the betrayal right there. You should have never taken the fight. You should have understood that when that fight was proposed to you, this is my twins fight. Twins have a symbiotic relationship. Twins never go against each other. Jermell Charlo so much don't want to be a fucking twin. It's so obvious. Because if he's truly staying code of being a twin, he would never take that fucking fight. He said, this is my brother's fight. My brother's supposed to be the one that's supposed to build his name off of that, because I already built my name. And the way that I built my name is I got undisputed at 154. Jermell Charlo is part of these Hebrew sect of dudes that are never satisfied, man. They can have it all, but they're never satisfied. We've seen these Hebrews back in Moses' day when God saved them, right, from Pharaoh. They still was not satisfied. They wanted to go back into the bullshit. They was looking at Moses like, well, thank you for saving us, but we really like the way we was under the master. We like the way we was under slavery. We prefer that better. And that mentality is still carrying over till today. A lot of brothers love to be under that slave mentality. They love to be under that enslaved mentality and mindset. Look at Jermell Charlo. Look at how he was talking about Canelo Alvarez. Look at how he was kissing Canelo Alvarez's ass. Look at how he was like, oh, I lost to a great champion. I lost this and that. He wasn't talking. What was all that shit talking you was doing when you said I was going to beat up Canelo? I was going to fuck Canelo up. I was going to do this to Canelo. What happened to all of that?
He didn't even try to.
He didn't even try to.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing that people are missing when it comes to this, man. People are missing. A lot of this is actually spiritual, and a lot of this is actually the curses. Like the reason why a lot of black men and women seem like they're never satisfied. There is something that satisfies them. It's not their God. It's not their people. It's the validation of their enemies.
Yep.
You want to see a good, satisfied black man? Let a white man on the job pat him on the back and tell him he's doing a good job. And look how his face brightens up, how he opens up, and he just bubbling. Look, you ever listen to how Mike Tyson used to bubble over when he talks about Customato? Yep. But you ever see Mike Tyson's face when he talks about other black people? It's like it pains him. It's like his blood in his mouth or something.
Yep.
That's the average black person needs the white validation. That satisfies them. They need it. They need to impress the oppressor. I like that. Yep. They need to impress the fucking oppressor. Exactly. That's the reason why a lot of people, when they come in and they're so gung-ho against their own people, I know what that is. I know that spirit that showbiz the adult has. I know it. I know he's the type that size-eyes black people, but will sit on the lap of a white man and speak all day about how good he feel about white people. I know that spirit. I know that non-spirit. I know that spirit of a man pushing 60 that still wears a clean shave and a bald head.
Yep. And see, what people don't realize is even when people are trying to do things in supposed good faith, they're doing it in bad faith. That's just like what J. Joe was trying to do to me. That's a showbiz the adult. When you try to sit there and come against your own brother off of the strength that you want to make yourself stand out. That's what they did back in those days, where they tried to differentiate and create what's called conquer and divide. They put this mentality where one brother has to make himself look like he's better than the other brother, holier than thou than the other brother. But that's an mentality, because as brothers, we're supposed to come to each other with love. That's how we impact better. That's how we affect better. That's how we are able to draw people better. Don't you notice when you come to a person in love, you're able to be more effective with that person than when you come to the person with an iron fucking fist. No one's gonna receive what you have to say with an iron fist. Unless you're
in that position over them.
Exactly. You don't know now, if you're in a position over them, you have every right to come at them. And there's times where you got to come at a motherfucker hard. I'm not saying that you're not supposed to, But like you said, you have to be in that position over the person.
You don't
But
notice. You don't know. Right.
here's the thing though. A lot of folks are conditioned and their mentality is conditioned to conquer and divide. And the reason why is because of the 400 plus years, the Jim Crow laws, the indoctrination of, hey, I always feel that I have to do this because this is how the embedded theology of how I was raised. Not realizing that in order for me to do things differently, I have to scrap everything that I do. I have to forget everything that I do in order to improve. It's just like when I work out, right? And I want to change my body and I want to change the composition of my body. You know what I have to do? I can't go in there and keep doing the same training over and over and over again. I have to tell myself, you know what? I like what I was doing. Scrap all that shit. Now I got to re-break it back down and I got to go into a different fucking program.
Yep.
That's where I'm going to get the different fucking results. Because when you don't do that, it's the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Because your body's already used to what you're doing. So it's not going to improve. It's just going to keep up. So you have to break everything down in order to see a difference. Well, that's everything else in life. In order to see something different, you have to break down the ideologies on how you think. Me and Ross has known each other from 2018. This is 2023 right now. In the 5 years we've known each other, we both can look at each other and say, damn, we have fucking grown. Ross can tell you, in Haitian Creole, they say the word défaut, but meaning Ross can tell you vices and weaknesses I had, and he could tell you how I've grown in 5 years. I could tell you vices and weaknesses that Ross have had and how he's grown in 5 years. The shit that I remember Ross was saying in 2018 and the Ross that I know now, I'm like, this motherfucker has grown before my eyes. And I'm sure he could say the same thing to me, but that's because we know each other on that level and we understand each other on that level. The maturity is there. But when we come to each other, we come to each other as brothers. What we've been taught is we've been taught how to not come at each other as brothers. Because when you come to each other as brothers, you come at each other with an accordance. If you notice in the Bible, there's the Apostle Paul and there's Apostle Peter. These are two of the most cold-hearted, unadulterated, cutthroat apostles. But they both were like the headliners. They were the leaders of both of their different sects. But if you notice, every time they was with each other, they didn't come at each other like that. They came at each other with love because they knew that was the only way that they was going to be able to be receptive to what each other was talking about.
Yep.
That was the only way they knew they were going to learn what they needed to learn, because they knew that in order for them to be in accordance, even when they had disagreements, because they said it in the scripture, if you read in the Acts of the Apostles, even when they had disagreements, they found a way to realize, okay, even in our differences and how we see things, we know that the only way that we're going to be able to move forward and progress, we got to come in love. Me and Ross don't agree on everything. We don't see eye to eye on everything, but the fundamental and central points that we see eye to eye on, we know that we got to keep those things intact in order for the relationship to grow or the relationship to remain intact. And that is what's lost.
And we also we're not using your flaw as a point to say you're inferior and I'm superior.
Exactly.
The Bible says all things that are lawful are not expedient.
Yep.
So it may be lawful for you to correct anything you see wrong, but it may not always be expedient for you to do so. Because I'm quite sure your boss at the job do things against the commandments, and I'm quite sure you don't correct him.
Yep.
I'm quite sure you mind your business. Because all things that are lawful are not expedient. So you don't go around correcting everybody.
And you know why? Because you want that paycheck.
He did that. You did that not because you cared. You did that because you said, let me try to embarrass this man on his platform.
Exactly.
That's the reason why it wasn't received well.
Yep.
Because you haven't built a rapport. Yep. You don't know this man. You haven't even confessed anything that you do wrong. So it's coming from the angle of, I got everything together. I'm on this platform while he got these people watching. Let me try to correct him on his platform.
Yep.
That's not reason.
When I know damn well you ain't got everything together.
That's not out of love.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't out of love. This ain't your son. You do your son like that. I wouldn't do my son like that. I'll take my son behind closed doors. But you can't do your son like that. You will come on a live stream with your son and say, "Hey man, you got boogers in your nose, man. Don't you know how to wipe your nose? Didn't I teach you better? I taught you. You can talk to your son like that. That's no grown man. And if you were doing it out of love, you would know that. But you did it out of vanity. That's why I wasn't received. And at the end of the day, you know what? I'm done talking about this because your ego is soaking up the live stream. You want us to talk about you, and I'm done talking about it. You won't get this energy out of me no more. You know what I mean?
So, what is your take? What is your last take on Spence and Crawford with 154, man? Why do you feel the fight should happen?
I believe Crawford's going to be. I believe Crawford is either he's going to have to retire because I think if you retire, you could get out of the contract, but you got to pay all the fucking because there's fees. There's super fees and breaching the contract. You might not even be able to fight. Depending on how they got that contract, you might not be able to fight anymore until you do that contract. But I believe the fight's going to happen. I believe it's going to happen at 154 because I believe this was already decided. And if it's already decided, it's on paper, it's going to happen. But I believe the reason why Crawford is trying not to have to fight at 154 because he knows something that his fan base won't admit. He knows that he didn't fight the real Errol Spence, and he don't want to fight the real Errol Spence. Because if you know you whooped Errol Spence easy, then you won't have a problem fighting him again.
Exactly.
And fight him at his best. Spence fought Cotto. I mean, Floyd fought Cotto at 154. He ain't have to. He could have made Cotto come out at 147. Floyd was the A side. He fought Cotto at his best. He moved up and he fought De La Hoya had the A side, but if it was Terence Crawford would have done. He moved up to fight De La Hoya at 154. Did y'all know that? He moved up to fight De La Hoya at 154.
So when Stephen Espinosa said you can't do that and there's no fight to be made, what was he basically saying to Terence Crawford there when he said that?
He's talking to Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. He's saying, you know what? I'm stepping in now because we should step in last. He said, this is the stipulations you want. We won't even make the fight. Basically saying Errol Spence don't need you, really. Errol Spence can move on with us. There was no fight to be made if you don't want to honor the agreement as stated. There's no fight to be made. So he's stepping in so that Errol Spence can't say, out of pride. Now, if you want to fight at 147, I'll do it. Like, no. There won't be no fight. Not on Showtime. At 147. Because you want to know why? That reflects back on him. Because now everybody's looking at the fight like, man, that wasn't Errol Spence. Who put on that fight? Showtime put on that fight. Who was the promoters? The PBC. That didn't look. This looks bad on the PBC. Because it not that he won. But how you won? How you won? This is the reason why they were telling Errol Spence, fight at your best, man. I know you want to be undisputed, but that shit passed. He stalled you out of undisputed. He stalled you out of undisputed. Fight at your best, man. You know what I'm saying?
You see why I love this brother, man? You see why I love Ross and Ross love me back? When Ross go in this mode, man, y'all know I got to give the gap. But when Ross go in that mode, I be telling him that shit, and he be like, no. But when that motherfucker go in that mode, I'm like, yo, man, I'm in the audience, man. And I don't lose nothing out of me. I don't lose no masculinity. I don't lose nothing when I sit here and give a big ups to my brother. Because Ross be going into these modes, it be like a superhuman mode, man. That shit, I don't know what it do to y'all in the comment section. But that shit hit all my DNA, my cellular structure, man. Because what he just said was so powerful. Because he just explained something to y'all that hopefully y'all got. And the message was as simple as this. Terence Crawford don't run shit. He's talking bullshit. He's talking fuck shit. And now Stephen Espinosa knows, Terence Crawford's trying to make us look bad. Now we're going to step in. We're going to make sure this shit don't look bad on our watch. So we're going to clean this up. So the way we're going to clean this up is We gonna say what we got to say. Notice after Steven Espinosa said what he have to say, Terence Crawford's nowhere to be found to talk, because Terence Crawford know his ass is under fucking contract, and he gonna do what the contract stipulate what it's gonna do. And shout outs to Bernard Gaines who said that.
The problem,
Terence Crawford is getting what he deserves because look what's going on right now. You see, God don't like ugly. Bo Mack is in jail. Terence Crawford, Bo Mack, we don't know when he's gonna come back from the jail. He's indefinite wherever the hell he's at in the UK. We haven't heard from him since. Terence Crawford, although he's propped up supposedly, everybody has question marks on his victory because nobody's really bigging it up no more. And then here's the thing.
Nobody really did. Only his fans did.
Everybody knows that he was pictured with Victor fucking Conte. And everybody's questioning that shit. And then we have the David Avocado situation that's looming over our heads. Because David Avocado's lawsuit is still active. You see how God don't like ugly? You see everything that's going on right now?
So you gotta understand one thing. This man got an open suit against him. That's a criminal suit. If you're cheating in boxing, that's a criminal suit.
Yep.
He got an open suit against him.
Yep.
And now that leaves room to renegotiate those contracts when it comes to the gloves. Because you've been caught cheating with gloves. Now we have to rarely inspect these gloves in the contract. Because it seems like shit don't get done unless it's in the contract.
Yep.
The sanctioning body is supposed to be doing this anyway, but they don't do anything.
Yep.
They're supposed to inspect the gloves, but they don't. Now they contractually we gotta inspect these gloves because you're just in a case where you cheated.
Yep.
And there's evidence. The gloves exploded. I've been watching boxing all my whole life. I ain't never seen gloves explode.
You know, the sanctioning bodies are like the laziest business entity organization on the face of the human planet. They don't do nothing but collect fees. Usually when you collect a fee, there's a service that you have to provide. There's a service that you have to render. They don't even render the service that they're supposed to provide. Their service is to regulate what's going on, make sure everything is above board, keep everything in compliance, make sure no fishy shit is going on. They don't even do that, and they collecting fees.
Right.
That's your HOA. They like a HOA. HOA is always collecting fees, but they never fix shit that's going on.
Yeah, do shit. You want my grass cut so much, you come cut it.
Yeah.
I gotta pay you fees to cut my own grass. I'm gonna do that anyway. Well, I'm paying you fees. What do y'all do?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Are y'all gonna put me on some stocks I ain't know about or something?
Yeah.
Is this a real like what is this? You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I said I don't want to. That's why I said I don't want to live in no community.
Yep.
I want to, and I'm talking to an ex that we had our time apart and we're thinking about coming back, and the contention, but she's a woman. She want a garden and all that, and I kind of want her to have that too because she could cook, she could make natural food, she could. We won't have to. With her, we ain't gonna have to do a lot of grocery shopping, a lot because she could grow a lot of shit that we'll buy. But I kind of don't want to have. I don't kind of want to live in no community because I don't want to deal with those neighbors like that. When you live in a loft or in a condominium, you don't have to deal with neighbors like you have to deal with when you live in a house community. Yep. Some houses you have to be a part of the HOA. And what if they don't want you there? They making it hard for you to live in the neighborhood and shit. You got people fucking with you. You know what I'm saying? Leave shit on your step. They doing all that. They don't want you there. I don't want to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? But back to what we was talking about, man. When it comes to Terence Crawford and Errol Spence, banning any neurological damage to Spence is straight, and you'll just dehydrate it, and along with the gloves that Crawford had at 154. Don't be surprised if you see another Ugas type situation. Because Terence Crawford isn't that much better than Spence. And that goes to show you how easy it is to manipulate the minds of American people.
Yep.
That there's people who actually believe that was a real fight.
Yep.
Because no one cares about history no more.
Yep.
They don't have the thought capacity. They don't have the mental capacity to be able to take in what's happening, what's going to happen, and what has had happened already. So it's kind of like this. If you deal with a woman who has a history of being faithful and not being loose, and you hear she was in a compromising position, but you know this woman, she has a history, she has a long rap sheet of nobody can never just jump down on her or whatever. It's easier to give her the benefit of the doubt,
Yep.
the present and the future, based on her past.
Yep.
But if you have a fighter who never had a history of being dominant, dominant don't mean you get a knockout, because dominant means you dominate from the beginning to the knockout. You never had a history of a guy dominating other elite fighters, so all of a sudden he has the power to hurt someone who you never really even seen hurt
in his most biggest fight.
In his biggest
Shit don't
fight,
make sense, man.
You have
against his supposed hardest opponent. That shit don't make fucking sense.
To believe that, you'll have to ignore the previous history.
Yep.
But life don't work that way. Everything is cyclical, right?
Yep.
So everything is cyclical. It's cyclical. It's not even the geometry that they put us in is not how life is. How everything is straight up and down, and left, right, and there's corners. No, life is a revolving door. So you are what you've always been. You can evolve and become gradually better, but you don't automatically become better overnight.
Yep.
You have to gradually become better over a series of fights. You know what I'm saying? But your power is going the other way cyclically. It's not going, it's counterclockwise. Your power is getting less as you get older.
Yep.
Not better. So you might get better as a fighter like Floyd did. He got significantly better. Money Mayweather was a better boxer than Pretty Boy Floyd, but his power and his reflexes wasn't. They were going the other way. So you don't get better. Your power don't get stronger. Your reflexes don't get better as you get older unless you own that shit.
Yep.
And boxing is not baseball. You can become a better hitter as you get older in baseball because it's eye-hand coordination. If you know a pitch is coming, you don't have to be so fast with your reflex because you know what they're gonna throw.
That's so just like Jordan. Jordan was a better basketball player, more fundamentally sound basketball player
as he got older.
But he had more athleticism when he was younger. That's how he was able to maintain the level of dominance. That's how Floyd was able to maintain the level of dominance. That's how Kobe Bryant was able to maintain the level of dominance because Kobe became better at 24. He was more fundamental. He was more mastery of his game. But when he was Afro, he was just so athletic and so nasty with the shit.
People gotta understand this thing. The casual fans, they're accepting this because you wanna know why? The casual fans moving their feelings. They want to see Floyd. They want to see Floyd lose. Floyd never lost. So the next best thing is to see Spence lose. But they gotta accept it as it really happened. But
see, and unlike you, J. Joe, you see what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna highlight you. You see, I'm gonna highlight you. You said something that was great. I'm gonna highlight my brother. You see? Michael Jai White said the same thing. Bud ain't never been this dominant. You were absolutely right. Michael Jai White did say that.
You have to notice the casual fans are accepting this. The Mexican fan base, they're accepting this for sure. But you notice the trainers aren't accepting this. Several trainers that came out and said that was an Errol Spence. Errol Spence dehydrated.
Yep.
These guys know more than the casual fan.
Yep.
They're not getting paid by Spencer's cap. They have no reason to lie.
But the most glaring one that me and Ross loved was Abel Sanchez, because Abel Sanchez is so on the opposite coin. And he came out and said, man, because he picked Errol to win the fight. But he was like, yo, nah. Because he knew if all things were on a par the way it was supposed to, Errol was supposed to punish Terence Crawford. He knew that.
Right.
In the back of his mind. He knew that.
And
that's why at 154, when Errol punishes Terence Crawford, it's like what Malcolm X said with JFK. The chickens will come to fucking roost. Me and Ross will have the biggest I told you so in that moment that it's going to hit people so hard. And don't be surprised, Ross, if me and you get a level of hate and vitriol. We're going to start getting comments where niggas say, man, I want to beat the shit out of you if I ever see you in public. We're going to start getting those comments again. Get ready for that shit. Because niggas going to be so mad at us. I can handle myself too. But niggas gonna be
long as
so
they ain't got
mad
no
at us,
gun,
bro.
and they talking about actually fighting, I ain't worried about that.
Yeah, niggas gonna be so mad at us, bro.
I don't lost fights before, but I'll guarantee you beat me in a
Niggas
fight.
gonna be so mad at us because of the fact that we've been saying this. This one right here, because Spence is going to. There's a reason why Spence is so quiet right now. Because in the back of his mind, Spence is like, I can't wait to beat this nigga up.
Right. Right. That's what people not understanding, man. And a hydrated, healthy Spence, when he gets on you, your career's not the same again.
Yep.
Your career ain't gonna be his career. Terence Crawford's career not gonna be the same. I wouldn't be surprised if Terence Crawford retire.
Yep.
After that fight.
Yep.
Or at least announce he's retiring soon after that fight.
But you see what Terence Crawford just did? He added injury to insult. So you know what Steven Espinoza and Al Haymon gonna do to Terence Crawford? They're gonna make him suffer even worse. Because remember, it's gonna be three fights. Terence Crawford been acting up, right? So now Steven Espinoza had to step in. So after Spence beats the shit out of Terence Crawford, they'll be like, all right, nigga, we're gonna get you another fight again, a third fight where you get beat up again to teach you another fucking lesson. Because you'll never get out of pocket trying to get on some damn YouTube and trying to get on some shit to try to tell people that you run the shit, that the fight's gonna happen at your weight class. Trying to act like you wasn't under contractual obligation. They gonna get his ass, boy. They gonna get his ass.
I'm glad you came back to that because I had lost track of a point I was gonna make.
Mm-hmm.
And you saying that brought it back to me. A lot of these guys, what Crawford is doing right now is Crawford wants to beat Floyd Mayweather Jr., but he didn't want to go through what Floyd Mayweather went through to beat Floyd Mayweather Jr.
Exactly.
The reason why they allowed Floyd, because let's be honest, the boxer has never allowed a boxer that much power, but Floyd had earned boxing respect with the moves he was making.
Yep.
And he was a money generator, not just a cash cow, a money generator, right?
Mm-hmm.
So everything around Floyd makes money. Like Floyd is like pretty much Deion Sanders is a money generator.
Yep.
He went over to Colorado, not Colorado, Boulder, Colorado is thriving.
Yes.
Off the football team, the whole city is thriving. No one was even talking about Boulder, Colorado last year. Now it's thriving. Floyd Mayweather has 100 times that effect in boxing.
Yep.
He had 100 times that effect in boxing, right? So he's able to do that. Crawford's trying to speak as if he's Floyd, but Crawford don't make Floyd moves. Because Floyd would actually be saying, okay, we can fight at 154 then.
Yep.
If Floyd was in this position and he knew he was just much better than the other guy, he'd be like, okay, we can fight at 154.
Yeah, run it back. 154.
Run it back. All right, cool. I already signed in the contract, so I'm going to honor it.
Yep.
But people don't realize this. Crawford doesn't even believe in himself the way his fan base do.
Yep.
His fan base believes in him more than he does.
Yep.
He don't want to fight Spence at 154, but he just whooped him easy. Why is that? Why is that?
He's scared, man. He's scared. For a guy who supposedly won a one-sided beatdown, he's scared. Let's be honest.
You would be scared if you knew the last time you fought somebody. Unless I'm putting it in terms of a street fight. If I knew the last time I fought HeKnows, I really had on brass knuckles and nobody knew about it. But this time HeKnows saying, "Hey man, I want to fight you. We finna be bare chested, no gloves on, and we finna thump in the grass like some real Miami shit. Them niggas just be walking around bare chested fighting in the middle of the street and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that way you can look at their hands and tell ain't nobody cheating, right? Now I'm gonna be like, nah, I don't know because let's just fight with the gloves on, man. Let's just fight with the gloves on because I knew I had the advantage. You feel what I'm saying?
Facts. Bottom line is this, man, and this is gonna be the last point that I'm gonna make. Ross said everything. I honestly don't have nothing to follow up because when he's in that zone, like I keep telling y'all motherfuckers, I know Ross don't like his horn to be tooted, but I'm always toot the motherfuckers horn because when my fellow double dragons is in the zone, that shit is fire to me, man. I learned a whole lot on what he just said. Hopefully y'all learned a whole lot because when it's all said and done, this rematch is gonna happen at 154. I don't care what Terence Crawford is telling y'all. And the reason why it's documented and he could legally be fucked is because Errol Spence has legally already said, not only did he activated the rematch clause, two things Errol Spence did. He went on Twitter and said, I am a 154 pounder. And post fight, he said, I can no longer make 147. And Terence Crawford is documented post fight saying that I can no longer make 147. And even if Terence Crawford opts out to retire, even if he does that, PBC is going to sue the shit out of him. So all this money that he made
He gonna get
in
blackballed
this
too.
fight, let's just say he's going to go broke. And Terence Crawford, if you guys notice, in the fight against Canelo versus Charlo, we've never seen Terence Crawford rock a chain that big. Obviously, the money is that good. We've never seen Terence Crawford actually wear an actual shirt that's modern with time. So the money is good. He's not going to want to go broke. Let's be honest. So he's going to do everything that's stipulated under the contract. Whether y'all want to believe it or not, he's going to do it. Even if it means they're going to throw extra M's his way, he's going to fucking do it. The 154 fight is going to happen. It may not happen in December. It may happen early next year, but that shit is fucking happening. And Spence is going to get his get back. And then after that, this is what I want to see. Mel's bullshitting. I want to see Spence beat the shit out of Terence Crawford. And then Spence and them, if they pull a wool over Terence Crawford's eyes and they don't do a third fight, that would be nice. Spence go ahead and fight Tim Shue. I mean, Jamel Charlo don't want to fight Tim Shue, right? I would love to see that too. Go ahead and sneak in and take the Tim Shue fight and then put it in Jamel Charlo's hand and say, all right, Jamel, you're at 154. I'm going to fight you for undisputed. Because at the end of the day, Spence already made it very clear. There's no friends in boxing. And if Jamel Charlo's in the way of him being undisputed at 154, so fucking be it.
Right.
And that's that. And that's all I have to say. Is there anything else you want to say, Ross?
No, there ain't nothing I want to say, man. So apparently we've been getting donations after the fact. Make sure y'all the donations, the cash apps and the what's the name, they'll be up as y'all like that as y'all go back and y'all rewatch this. Make sure y'all send the cash apps and the donations and all that, man. But make sure you send the He Knows cash apps because that's how we doing it. He can spread it amongst us. But
Facts.
yeah, other than that, I ain't got nothing else to say.
Those who donated, Marquise, Terry Thomas, we appreciate you guys. Anyone that's going to be donating after the fact, like Bernard Gaines, and anyone that's going to donate right now before we get off, we would appreciate it. Hopefully you guys felt that you learned something. I mean, we covered a whole lot of shit, not just boxing. We taught you about species as opposed to race. We talked about the mangina that's going on in today's society. And then we interwoved it and intermingled it back to Spence-Crawford. And then we also checked those who were prideful, you know what I'm saying, and those who were haughty in their spirit, et cetera, et cetera. Hopefully they learn and go back and get a strong concordance and get an actual Hebrew interpretation of what they're saying and not spewing scriptures out of context. When it's all said and done, we hope this was real. We hope y'all enjoyed the live. We appreciate everyone that tuned in. We appreciate y'all. We're going to continue to bring that heat and that fire. We're going to continue to separate the weak from the strong. And we're going to continue to ensure that truth is the main thing that stands above everything else. Me and Ross are looking forward to Spence and Crawford too. We can't wait until the outcome of that fight. I know Ross is going to be drinking his favorite drink. Hopefully you bring out the cigars. I'm going to be drinking my favorite drink. And then we're going to sit there and watch Spence mangle and punish Terence Crawford. Thank you, Dennis Ugas, and your performance against Antonio Barros, because that put in our minds that Errol wasn't Errol because of the way you looked in that fight. We appreciate you for that. We appreciate everyone that tuned in. Y'all be easy. It's been real. Peace.
Peace.